Welcome to History Nuts. I'm Russ Carson Jr., the founder of Family Tree Nuts. At Family Tree Nuts, we build family trees for people, and we produce videos at historic locations and videos that help to honor your ancestors.
I'm Jameson Cable, founder of the Kentucky History Podcast, where we talk about anything Kentucky history, events, people. If it has to do with Kentucky, we're going to discuss it.
And we've teamed up together to bring you History Nuts.
History Nuts is a live show where we talk about, you guessed it, history.
Right. History seems to be less and less to people today, but we are trying to do everything we can to keep it alive.
Absolutely. History is a passion of ours, for sure, but it connects to you. Russ, tell us about the best part of the show.
You can join in. You can comment and ask questions live.
We've got a great topic today, and we know you're going to enjoy this episode of
History Nuts.
And we are live once again. Hey, everybody, this is Colonel Carson with my good pal
Jameson Cable, Kentucky History Podcast.
Yeah,
how's it going?
Yeah, man, we've got a great show tonight. I'm excited about this one. It's something we were going to do last week, but some crazy things happened, and here we are.
I guess it's been about 2 weeks. We've had about a 2-week hiatus there. But
I missed you, buddy.
We're ready.
I missed
you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Isaac Shelby is one of my favorite people in history. But there's a few people on Earth that know a little bit more about him than me, and you're one of them. So,
all right.
Take the lead on Isaac Shelby. Yes.
Yeah. Tell us where you're from, where you're watching from. Leave a comment if you have anything to add. Isaac Shelby, I mean, first governor of Kentucky, pretty important guy.
Yeah, first and
fifth.
What the heck?
Fifth.
4 in between.
Yeah.
How old is this guy, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a very interesting character that right from the get-go. I mean, he's involved in so many things. So many things are named after him even today. You've heard Shelby County this, Shelby this, all these different states, things like that are named after this guy. But I'd be willing to say that 99.9% of the folks out there have no clue who Isaac Shelby is.
Yeah, I mean, we start rattling them off in Kentucky: Shelby County, Shelbyville. I don't know of any Shelby states, though. I don't know.
No state is Shelby. Did I say state?
You said state. I was like,
county, schools, all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah. But, a lot of stuff. A very, very interesting life. Very complex life in a way. I mean, he's not as controversial, I guess, as some of the people we've talked about. But
you can make anybody controversial.
That's true.
Especially in today's world, no matter how good they are, they try to find the bad today.
Yep.
People love to see people fall. Patty says hello. Her first live, watching from Central Indiana. Hey, Patty, glad you're with us. Remember, guys, this is live, but you can watch it anytime. You can watch it next week.
Patty's been doing that. She's been watching some of these over the past little bit, and I appreciate all the comments she's leaving and stuff, and she's really enjoying them. So,
great. Yeah. Chris is watching from Camarillo, California, and Alex from Independence.
Yeah, and is that Linda from Bean Station?
Yeah, hey, got a video at Bean Station. Been there, yeah, man. And Doug's from Chattanooga. So
we're across the country, California to Kentucky.
That's right. So, well, let's get going here, kind of thing. Isaac Shelby, where's he from? Who is he? What's his deal?
Oh, well, a good question popped up right here. Was Isaac Shelby related to Henry Clay? See, so Isaac Shelby's older than Henry Clay, so if he was related to him, it had to be, it had to be through some descendant. But I don't know, maybe, maybe through the Harts, maybe.
Yeah, because all those early families are pretty connected. Ephraim McDowell and all that stuff. So I have to look for that. We'll look that up.
Yeah. And just to give everybody a heads up, so typically when we talk about somebody, it's kind of chronological and so forth. But I've read a few books about Isaac Shelby, done some basic research and stuff as well. but this time we kind of got it divided up a little different. We're kind of talking about just his basic family. Then we'll get into his military career and then his political career. So at points it might sound like we're just jumping over stuff, but we'll get back to it.
Yeah, he's a multifaceted man, a major importance in a couple different things. So,
yeah.
Oh, Don says he's out there in the Wayne County Cemetery doing some research. I wonder if you're up there at Queens Ridge. I don't know. I've been up there a few times. And, well, good deal. Isaac Shelby, when was he born?
So, Isaac Shelby was born in 1750, December the 11th, in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is Frederick now in Washington County. I think it changed maybe, but there you go.
Fredericksburg near there's Hagerstown.
Hagerstown.
What route is that there that it goes through? But that's right as when you come out of the D.C. area, you're starting to go up the hill, Hagerstown there. So, but
there you go. But that's where he's born. His parents were Evan and Lydia Cox Shelby.
I think that's Letitia, isn't it?
Is it Letitia?
I think so, brother.
Letitia? Well, it probably is. Letitia, yeah. Letitia Cox. There you go.
Well, they ended up having like a granddaughter named, or his daughter's named Letitia.
Okay. But,
okay. Well, not sure on that one, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, my pronunciation of things is never accurate or
right. You got to put that hillbilly twang in there.
Yeah. So, the interesting thing too about his family is they came from Wales in 1835, and I'm not sure about this. I never looked into it, but I would think that would make Isaac a first generation American. I'm not sure, of course, because I never went back to say, well, what day was his parents married or moved over, all that kind of stuff. I never looked into that, but it would mathematically in my head, most likely he was a first generation American coming from his parents there. Maybe you can get some genealogy in there and find out the rest of those facts.
There's some discrepancy as to when they arrived there, and was Shelby actually born in Wales or born in the U.S. There's a little bit of back and forth there on that one.
Yeah. So they moved around. I mean, this was very typical, of course, of people during that time. They moved from Pennsylvania, Maryland, but finally ended up in Virginia. And while they were there, they started the big fur business. So the family operated a big fur business, quite successful, I guess, for the time. I don't know. I don't know the money they made or anything like that. But it got destroyed. It got destroyed in Pontiac's War. And that kind of forced the family to move away, and they moved to Bristol, Tennessee. What is it? Virginia at the time, I guess. You ever been to Bristol, Tennessee?
I've been to Bristol, Tennessee / Virginia. The state line goes right down the middle of the town.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I've been there a few times. They got some races and all that stuff that go on down there from time to time.
It's known for that.
This is 1772. They moved there and they started to open a store and a fort there, which, I mean, by that time, you think of 1772, people aren't even really settling in Kentucky yet. I mean, we're just getting to that time. So
right there on the outskirts, right there on the edge of the mountains. And we talked about that, and we talked about the Scots-Irish, that were settling, and the Germans that were settling out there on the backcountry. It's kind of arguable whether or not they're supposed to be there or not, but
your business burns down, you move a little farther west. Kind of the way it goes. But his father was a big time in the military and actually fought in Lord Dunmore's war. Isaac fought under his father, or with his father, served with his father in that war as well. After that war, Isaac stayed in Kentucky, and then the Revolutionary War begins, and Isaac goes and fights. He was actually in Kentucky at this time, and he goes and fights in quite a few battles, Kings Mountain, and so forth. But then after that, which we're moving fast here.
Yeah, you're moving really fast. You're covering some of my favorite things in history.
We're gonna get to those. And he goes on to moves to Knotlick in Lincoln County, which is later named.
Did you say
Knotlick?
Knotlick.
Knoblick. Sorry, Knoblick.
Even still, Knoblick, Kentucky. Isn't that where you're from, old Knoblick?
Yeah. Or no, Knoblick.
Not too very far though. What is that? Not
far. No. I mean, literally 10 minutes away.
Yeah, right.
We got a quick comment. Patty, Shelby County in Indiana is named after Isaac Shelby. I would about guarantee any county named Shelby west of Kentucky and so forth, or after Kentucky was formed, there's a good chance it's named after Isaac Shelby. I don't know all the counties, but I would say the very good chance it's named after Shelby. I bet, especially, is there an Ohio Shelby County? Do you know?
Yes.
Isaac Shelby?
Yes.
There's a hesitation, but we'll take it.
I'm sure. I have to check on that, but like you just said, I'm pretty dapper and sure. So
yeah, I would bet a lot of money on it. But like we said earlier at the beginning, he marries Susan Hart, who's the daughter of Nathaniel Hart. And that was in 1782, and they settled in Kentucky.
Who's Nathaniel Hart?
Oh, you don't know who Nathaniel Hart is?
I might know a little bit about him.
Yeah, you think there's a video out there about him?
There's a few of them. Yeah, one of the first settlers in Kentucky, and the lead negotiator of the Transylvania Company.
Yep, and which the typical, like we said, mingling of the kind of first settlers there, kind of a big thing. See, man, we got a lot of Shelby County, Missouri is named after him. My grandfather was good friends with him.
Carl needs to have a couple greats in front of that, but Carl. So, I don't know how old you are, Carl. Are you? I think so.
So him and his wife, they settle in Lincoln County. After his first term in office, they settle at Traveler's Rest, which you can go to today.
Yeah.
And you
can't go to it. Somebody lives there, don't they?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, his gravesite, all that stuff.
Yeah,
you can roll in there. I drove out there one time, and I had to turn around in the yard or the driveway. So, I mean, I guess it's okay to visit.
Yeah,
as long as the gate's open, I guess you're good.
I mean, hey, that's what looks for dinner when you open the door,
But he after he retired, he kind of focused on his family and his business and so forth. But then he goes back into office and so forth. He was a slaveholder and actually left his slaves to his children. And there you go. And then he died in 1820 of it's not 1820. Sorry, he was diagnosed with paralysis in 1820 in his left arm and right arm, right leg. And then he died in 1826 and is buried at Traveler's Rest. There we go. Show's over.
The show's over. Let's get out of here. Remember, Family Tree Nuts.
Oh, one interesting thing about, and joking, the show's not over, but one interesting thing about Traveler's Rest, where he is buried, that is the spot that he first settled when he came to Kentucky. He slept in a tent right there. So
yeah. He said that was this. Well, he got land for his service, his military service, and he picked that first. And if you've been there, that's pretty good. It's really, really flat.
Yeah,
right there. It's really flat. Not that there's big hills around, right there, but it's a really good spot. So
yeah, we got a good question here or comment. Isaac Shelby helped turn the tide of the revolution at Kings Mountain. He came up with a battle plan along with John Sevier, like
Sevierville over there.
Is this correct, guys? We're getting to it. So that was kind of a quick overview, I guess, of his life. Basic general stuff, his family, those sorts of things. But anyway, Shelby County, Ohio, is named after him. There you go. It's good to have fact checkers.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, right. While we're doing it, she needs to. We'll put her on staff. So come out of your income. So,
let's back up. Let's back up all the way back to Lord Dunmore's war.
Who's Lord Dunmore?
Yeah, who's Lord? What was all that about? You remember?
Yeah, Lord Dunmore, is the governor of Virginia. It's a heraldic title of the Muddies that were the governor. It was the governor there in Virginia. Basically, very, very long story short, lots and lots of Native American attacks on the frontier settlements of the backcountry, which involved in usually your Scots-Irish and some German settlements that are out there. So Lord Dunmore called for a militia group to rise up and fight them, and they met there at Point Pleasant. What's really neat about that war, it's a war, a lot of people think that's the very first battle of the Revolutionary War. It's in 1774. It's in modern-day West Virginia, right there on the Ohio River. Mm-hmm. And what's fascinating to me is if you really start doing some digging about who the heck was at that battle, these guys came from hundreds and hundreds of miles around. I think I'm going to make a map of where a lot of these guys came from, probably within a 600-mile radius that these guys came and met right there out there on the backcountry. They brought men all the way from Fort Harrod,
Wow. Kind of
James Harrod, well, it was settled there in the summer of 74, and then the battle was later on in 74. Mm-hmm. James Harrod led a group of men to fight in that battle right there. And then they went back to Fort Harrod and then went back home and came back the next year and all that kind of stuff. But many people believe that's the first battle of the Revolutionary War. I know I had two of my own great-grandfathers that were there, so at that battle. So most of us have family or from the Appalachia area have ancestors that were at that battle. And that's something you could probably be proud of if you do some research. And if you don't know, we know some people who can help find that out.
Very true. Very true. Let's see. I'm from Shelby Valley, Pike County, Kentucky. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thomas Berry, Washington County, Augusta County, Rockbridge County is there you go. So Isaac Shelby, he was in he fought in Lord Dunmore's war. He served as a lieutenant under his father in a campaign against the Shawnee and Mingo tribes. The only major battle, during the Battle of Point Pleasant, Isaac led his men in kind of a flanking maneuver. I'm going to try to sound as military as I can. A combat maneuver. Flanked them and this attack against the Native Americans, and this kind of led to the victory. So a lot of people gave Isaac a lot of credit and praise for his bravery during that battle.
Just the beginning.
Yep.
Just the beginning on that. If you know about that battle, they were down kind of like along the river there, and a lot of ravines and stuff like that. So topography played a huge part in that battle right there. But
well, topography is going to play in the Kings Mountain here when we get to it. But was that a good analysis of the military combat?
Yes. Yeah.
So he was a commissary agent assigned by Patrick Henry in 1777 in Kentucky. He traveled from post to post gathering supplies for the frontier settlers and for the Continental Army.
Yeah.
Of course, we kind of shifted over into the Revolutionary War part, which a lot of people forget. A lot of people forget about Kentucky's role in the Revolutionary War. Kind of and not a lot happening in the Western Front, but I mean there was plenty enough to make note of. People were beginning to settle in Kentucky, and they needed supplies as well. The British were trying to come around the west with the Native Americans as well. But all that aside, in 1780, Shelby's actually called back to the military to serve in the American Revolution, to fight in the Southern Front. And so he gathers up a bunch of frontiersmen and says, "Let's head to battle."
Yeah.
And one thing, Shelby has already got a pretty good military reputation at this point, and pretty much he just adds to it as he goes.
Well, yeah, because of his reputation is how he was able to recruit so many bodies. Kind of thing. They try to rally up tons of militiamen and things like that. And when I think about when we're doing a family tree for somebody, you often wonder, why did they fight? Why did they give a rip? Why did they? I mean, these are frontiersmen that are out and living in the backcountry because they wanted to be the heck away from everybody in the first place.
Yeah.
Why are they going to rally up and go back a little bit further east there and fight again, kind of thing? And it was men like Isaac Shelby that were able to rally those men to get involved in the fighting and basically let them know why they should fight, kind of thing. So those people, that's the stuff that we don't think about. We read that he led them in this battle and stuff, but what kind of a character and charisma did he have to have in order to convince these men that they needed to fight?
Yeah. Honor, bravery. Let's go get them. Let's do it.
Sure. If you don't, then you're going to lose your land, and your wife's not going to love you anymore because you lost your house. So, it all comes down to that anyway. So.
Yeah, and so when he's called back, he's actually in Kentucky doing like surveying and that stuff. But he rallies up the men, and they go to it leads them to many victories. A Battle of Thickety Fort. Where is that exactly? Thickety Fort. Where is that? Do you know?
Nope.
Oh.
Well, all of their battles at 96, right there, Utah Springs. The Kings Mountain, which we're getting ready to get into, it's in the backcountry, North Carolina and South.
Well, Carolina. That's what I was. That's kind of where I assume this is all in that area. But I don't know. I know Kings Mountain. I know where that's at exactly, but I did not know Thickety Fort. Musgrove Mill. That's another one that he won a victory in. But he travels to the Broad River, which is in the western part of North Carolina, to meet up with General Charles McDowell. Shelby leads his troops in many kind of small battles, against Tories and the British troops. Who's the Tories?
Those were your ancestors. Remember we talked about that, right? So
no.
The Tories are the folks that did not rebel. They supported the crown.
The American people that were in America, the colonists, I guess, in America.
And there was as many of them as there was folks that fought in the Revolution. So
but they won many victories, but not
for independence. They both fought in the Revolution, fought for independence.
But it did not too many big, large battles, and this didn't really gain a lot of ground. All these skirmishes and stuff. General Gates was eventually defeated at Camden, and Shelby and his men had to kind of retreat back across the mountains. Major Patrick Ferguson, the British. This is the British guy. He sends a message to Shelby and his men and pretty much says, "Hey, stop what you're doing, or we're going to burn the country to the ground."
He said he was going to bring fire and sword. That's what they said. That's the old Scottish thing. He's going to bring fire and sword to that country right there. He was a Highlander, Ferguson was.
Yeah. And you know what? Shelby said, all right, we don't want our country burned, and retreated. Correct?
Absolutely not.
That
is not the American way, that's for sure. And he had a whole daggone army full of my favorite people, Scots-Irish.
Yeah. So this fired them up, and they said, you know what? Let's start recruiting more. And so they get even more mountain men, backwoodsmen, and they all join up the cause. And with his big new enlistment, sizable army growing, they head to Kings Mountain, and which, like we said earlier, Kings Mountain is kind of located right across the South Carolina line, and that's where they met the enemy.
Absolutely. Sandy made a good comment there. Sandy Johnson McMahon, she said, I had some Tories in my family, and it really surprised about that. I've told some people that they've got Tories in their family, and they're devastated by such a thing, but I don't know, man. You never know what motivates an individual, kind of thing. I mean, you could say that the Americans that fought for independence were ungrateful, and they were not. They were the bad guys, kind of thing. So, there's a lot of reasons why people do what they do, and history is not black and white. It is very complicated. So, you should be proud of those people that were Tories, because they were loyal to communities. So.
They fought for what they believed in, obviously.
And I'm glad they lost.
Well, I gotta say I'm on that side of things for sure.
I'm not a big tea drinker, so
no, me neither, man. I just don't like. I mean, sweet tea, none of that. I don't like it. I stick to my namesake.
Jamesons. You drink a lot of Jamesons, right?
No, not really.
Never had any of that.
Me neither. I've never had any. But anyway, so the battle for Kings Mountain, big battle in the Revolutionary War. As far as definitely for Isaac Shelby, the fight began October 7th, 1781, and the Patriots marched up the side of King Mountain and gained the high ground.
What did he say? What did Ferguson say? I can't remember his exact quote, but it'd say God Almighty couldn't move him and his army off that hill, right? Isn't that what he said?
That sounds pretty right. I'm not.
It took them Scots-Irish backwoodsmen about 45 minutes to remove him permanently from that side of that mountain, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing. You're the military advisor here. Why is the high ground so important?
Well, I mean, you can see down. You can see, you can see who's coming and when they're coming and how many of them are coming and how they're coming, and it's hard to fight uphill. It's tiring to do so, but I think that the difference is, and this is the whole nutshell. I keep going back to the Scots-Irish. There's more to the Scots-Irish, but they were living on the backcountry, and these guys lived like Indians. These guys for a generation or three had been living in the backcountry and fought like Indians. They didn't get online like the British Army did and shoot each other kind of thing. They hid behind trees and I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. Crawling and things like that. So that was a new tactic that the British just didn't know how to handle, and they woke up pretty soundly.
Yeah, William says battleground cover. So
that's right.
And that's I mean, you could also ask Anakin Skywalker. He knows about the high ground as well.
I think he lost his legs and arms. And he turned in. What year was that? It was a long time ago.
A galaxy far, far away. But anyway,
we're going way back in history.
The British, of course, charge up, like you said, in their kind of lines of formation. Isaac's men, they hold the ground, push them back. The British have to regroup, and Isaac's men, of course, regroup and head higher up the mountain. With the British then form back up with their bayonets and all that, charge again, but of course are forced back again. Shelby and his men fortify themselves again, push a little higher up the mountain, and while the British are trying to prepare for another advance, of course. And of course they do, but they fail again. The Patriots hold them again, and during the third stand, the British start to begin a slow retreat. And during that, Major Ferguson is shot and killed, and the British are just without leadership, a snake with their head cut off. They are done. Their efforts collapse. Shelby is declared the victor, and that's where he gets the name Old Kings Mountain.
Yeah, Old Kings Mountain. And that's a major victory right there to defeat Patterson there, because if you getting way off subject here a little bit here. Vicky says, "Hey guys, hey Vicky, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate your support." What you just said a minute ago, that Gates was defeated there at Camden, and this is right for the Battle of Guilford Courthouse and things. So the British had really been kicking tail in the Southern campaign kind of thing. And it was after this was the turning point. This was the Gettysburg of the American Revolution in the Southern campaign, which was crucial because while they kept the Americans divided, fighting in the North and the South, it made it a whole lot easier for them to defeat. So a lot of people believe that this battle, that attack up the side of that mountain is the reason why we won our freedom and we're the United States of America today. So that's a stretch there, but that's what a lot of the historians believe. And I like that story.
Yep. Let's take us a quick break, and then we'll get back to his political career. Probably not going to be as exciting, but
he's got a little more military stuff. But getting into the politics now. So
we got a little more military stuff.
Yeah, remember River Raisin, and he's
yeah. Well, yeah.
One more war. So we'll see you on the other side of the commercial.
Yes. Maybe.
Jordan. Anyone?
God. John Edmondson was born February 21st, 1764, in Washington County, Virginia. His parents were William and Nancy Edmondson. He fought in the Revolutionary War, most notably in the Battle of Kings Mountain. After the war, he was a clerk in Abingdon, Virginia. Edmondson married Margaret Robinson Montgomery, and they had 3 children. He came to Kentucky in 1790 after buying land in Fayette County. The War of 1812 began, and Edmondson formed a company of riflemen. He joined John Allen's 1st Rifle Regiment. He was chosen to be the captain of the company, but resigned and rejoined the company as a private. During the Battle of River Raisin, Edmondson was killed. He was buried on his property in Fayette County. I hope you've enjoyed learning about John Edmondson. He was a soldier in many battles and died a soldier's death. He established his family in Kentucky and fought to defend the Commonwealth. 9 counties are named after fallen soldiers during the Battle of River Raisin. Edmonson County, the 79th county in Kentucky, was named after John Edmondson. Don't forget to try out audibletrial.com/kyhistorypod to get a free book of your choosing. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification button for more Kentucky history content. If you'd like to support the channel, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/kyhistorypod. Find us on these social media platforms and check out the Kentucky History Podcast on these podcast platforms for more in-depth history of Kentucky. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And we're back. We're back. You know, that's what's really cool is you know, you've done several videos about men that were at the River Raisin, and we're going to be talking about that here in a second. But you know, that's really awesome. Yeah. I went through that county. It's one of those counties you're like, what the heck is in this county? You know, and why is it named that? But, now we all know.
There you go. Yep, and that, you know, ties in, and it actually fits to something you said earlier too about Isaac as well. The whole War of 1812 and all that stuff. I think Patty said, I have some ancestry mysteries to solve before I can say for certain their contributions to the war effort. If only all the records were digitized, and that'd be great. But
yeah, absolutely. There are more and more every day, but maybe our grandchildren will have all the records digitized.
Yeah. Well, I always like looking at the old newspapers and stuff, and sometimes you don't always get the issue of the newspaper that you want. You know, it's not been digitized yet, or it might have been lost. But anyway, back to Isaac Shelby.
Yeah,
political career. He had a pretty successful political career, I must say.
So.
He's the first governor of Kentucky, but before that, I mean, he served in the Virginia and North Carolina governments in the 1780s. But once he arrived in Kentucky, you know, his military reputation pretty much increased his political prowess or his ability, or I guess his notoriety, probably would be the best way to say it. He participated in the Kentucky Constitutional Convention, and he. Do what?
In Danville there. We got a video
and there. Danville, yeah. And he was a big force in getting Kentucky to separate from Virginia and become an actual state or commonwealth.
Rebels again, man. Rebels again.
Rebels again. Well, we got a few coming in comments. My husband's, let's see. No, this was, no. My husband's ancestor, Smith Rousey. Is that how you say that? Rousey, I think.
Yeah,
was shot and killed by Isaac Shelby's home guard. Wow. He was crossing the farmland and they mistook him for someone else. Whoa. That's a pretty wild connection there. Wow.
Yeah, that sounds like a video right there.
Yeah. That's yep. All right. Well, we got more coming in, but we'll I believe Cowpens was more of a turning point than Kings Mountain. Go Greenbrier Pioneers. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Bob.
Man. Cowpens is definitely right there in the same time, same period kind of thing, and definitely a turning point too. That's the thing about it, is what I said a minute ago, is like some people say that this one was more important than any other ones, but in reality, they needed every one of them. So
yeah, listen to this one. This is a wild comment. It must read. Susan puts, according to my family legend, four times great grandfather, Francois Deloyle. I don't know, man. You're the French dude.
Deloyle
had his eye shot out at the Battle of Frenchtown. Question: was he from Kentucky, or did he have any Kentucky connection? Because a lot of the people that were killed in Frenchtown and River Raisin were from Kentucky. So you can answer that one later there, Susan, if you got it. But anyway, let's get back to old Shelby here. Are you ready?
Yeah, Alex says, ever consider shooting a video at Fort Finley near the mouth of the Great Miami River, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, tri-state area? Yes, on the list.
Yeah. Susan said that her great grandfather was French, which makes sense as well with the name Francois. Let's see. So he was actually unanimously elected to be the first governor of Kentucky.
He didn't run.
No run, no campaign, nothing. They said, who wants Shelby to be the governor? They all said,
unanimously. Unanimously. Now that's pretty neat to think about. It tells you what his charisma and his influence was, because you and I have done several stories about other important men that were living in Kentucky at that time. What about Benjamin Logan? James Hayward, Daniel Boone. Henderson. Tons of other people that we could name. Nathaniel Hart, we were talking about. No, Nathaniel Hart died in 1782. Never mind. He was murdered on the creek bank there. We've got a video there, of course. That's why he was not considered lots of other very influential folks that could have been nominated, but no. What about George Rogers Clark even? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Guys that we could say, well, what about people that we've talked about in the past? Nope. Isaac Shelby was the one that was unanimously elected without even running.
Yep. And that's one thing. Well, I'll talk about another point, because we talked about all these people, of course, but he did not play the political drama. I mean, he was kind of a no drama guy. He did not mess around with any kind of political games or engage with that. It's all business, man.
Can we bring this guy back? Man.
Yeah.
Do what's supposed to be good for the people you represent. Stop playing it anyway.
And like you talked about him not having a campaign. There's no evidence that that is even out there that he even wanted to be the governor. Like that he was like, I want to be the governor. Nothing. So
imagine what his wife said. Are you freaking kidding me? You've been gone doing all these stuff all the time, and now you got to go do it.
Yeah.
When are you going to trim them hedges? So,
So he was a Jefferson Republican, but again, didn't really care anything about party politics, and didn't faze him a bit. If it was something that was good, he was going for it. If it's something he thought was bad, didn't want to do it, or didn't think the state should do it. And just think about that, man. What if we all just work together and for the common good?
Well, why would they do that?
I know.
We can't get kickbacks for doing that way. So
yeah. Yeah, so he was not big on political speeches. He spoke directly. He didn't have like what you would call a charismatic political persona or anything like that. He was very just, let's get this done and move on.
And that's good too, because during his first administration there, he was the guy that laid down, or helped to establish procedures and laws and traditions and things for the state government, and not just Kentucky state government, but further out west to set precedent for new states that were created.
Yeah, and that's of course like the relevance of Kentucky. I mean, he set the standard for future governors of Kentucky, and at the time, Kentucky didn't have a government. So I mean, his administration's focus was, we got to establish a government. We got to have courts and offices and getting a state income, all that kind of stuff. An army to defend. Basic common things. Like his political career as the first governor was a huge success because he had to create a government. There was nothing else really to do. There wasn't. I mean, of course, he had to pay a road system. That was something else. He had to create. That was it. Kentucky was kind of on its own out in the frontier of the U.S. So
yeah, he's the one that established the Wilderness Road.
Yeah. So
went through the Cumberland Gap all the way to Louisville. So
yeah. But of course, there was problems. He had problems. The Native American attacks were a big. They had died down tremendously from the 1770s, but he had to kind of make sure the militia was funded and were able to kind of adhere to those attacks and push those back. The Spanish, there was a situation with the Spanish that came about, and about the whole Mississippi River, all that sort of stuff. And which was a big economic thing for Kentucky, and that kind of was an issue he kind of had to deal with.
And they wouldn't. The Spanish had New Orleans.
New Orleans.
We think of New Orleans as French, but the Spanish at that time were in control of New Orleans, and they wouldn't allow American trade, to come in. So that was a major problem for the development of Kentucky, but. He was, he basically was very important for ending that, in the negotiations for allowing the American trade to come into New Orleans.
Yeah, and so the British was another problem that Shelby had to deal with. So you got the British, you got the Spanish, and there wasn't a lot of support from the federal government at this time. Kentucky's the newest state, and new states were coming as well, and he kind of left out here alone at times, and I'm sure there was plenty of obstacles that way. But the biggest thing he thought was the Native Americans, and he kind of his objective was, if I can get that under control, everything else will fall in line. And he was actually able to convince George Washington to send troops and kind of push the Native Americans farther back, or from raiding as much.
General Matt Anthony Wayne. I mean, we're see, that's what's the big deal about Isaac Shelby is we could do 17 shows on Isaac Shelby because he's so in touch. He's touching all these different historical events and different important things in the geographical area. So,
William says hair and horses were easier to get in Kentucky than Virginia.
Well, I read that. What is he talking about? Hair? Is he like scalps, or is he?
yeah.
Some of us have a little more hair than others, but.
It's come in a little thicker sometimes. Kentucky had more Revolutionary War soldiers who wanted to settle in Kentucky. It's one thing. Genealogy, definitely you will find most people got war grants. Yeah, William said scalp.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. That's for certain.
Yeah, so all this, there was peace with after Matt Anthony Wayne, all that stuff was happened. That was established for a time. Isaac didn't agree with the elements of the peace, but where settlers could move, but enforced. But he still went ahead and enforced the peace treaty at the time. But the French became another issue, as Shelby had to deal with in his first term. So, I mean, he's kind of, I mean, you think about this, he's a state governor who just got elected. This is the first 4 years of this government, and he has to deal with three foreign powers.
Yeah, international government.
yeah. On top of Native Americans, so you can say four. Well, you even got more tribes of Native Americans. I mean, pretty successful. The fact that Kentucky's still here. So anyway, the French were at war with Britain and Spain. Kentuckians were sympathetic to their cause, but the French agents were sent to Kentucky actually to establish kind of a base of operations against the British and the Spanish. But go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. This is something that will blow a lot of people's minds. That really, the people that don't delve too deep into this history, Kentucky very, very easily could have been part of the Spanish Empire. Very, very easily could have been part of the French Empire, kind of thing. I mean, this was, those that were living there they almost seized the bluegrass, kind of thing. So, we could have been speaking French or Spanish right here, but little key things along the way. And I don't want to get too deep in tangents. I know we're talking about Isaac Shelby here.
Oh, yeah.
There was a big French conspiracy there. And then Thomas Jefferson, the president, got involved big time and sending secret messages to Isaac Shelby and say, watch out for this guy. I think he's a spy. That's a whole nother show, of course.
Yeah.
But.
Well, that's one thing that is very cool with Isaac Shelby is there's loads of documentation from letters from Washington, Jefferson. He was in the mix of all the, with all the presidents. I mean, he was a very important person, not only to Kentucky but to the nation. So anyway, like Isaac kind of tells people, hey, don't, the people from Kentucky, don't get involved in these French conflict and this and that. But he also said he has no constitutional power to prevent it. He can't do anything. And then soon after that, Washington makes a proclamation that all U.S. citizens have to refrain from arms against a nation in which the U.S. is at peace with. So, you can't fight the British, basically.
The French or the Spanish or whoever. You got to actually declare war,
For now.
Picking up your weapons,
Give us 10 years or 12 years or however many it would be, and then we can.
Right. Yeah, give it a few years.
Yeah.
Alex brought up a neat point. He said, did Simon Kenton approach Governor Shelby about a spy or scout corps once Kentucky obtained statehood? Absolutely. That's a whole other story right there that we'd love to talk about for sure. That's what we're talking about. This guy, Isaac Shelby, that many people don't know a thing about. There's so many side stories that we could talk about Governor Shelby.
Patty asked here, what's the difference between a state and commonwealth? I don't think there's much difference, technically, but is it got to do with it's not elections, is it? What is the difference really? I mean,
I've known this before, but it's very, very normal. There's Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, Kentucky and
Virginia.
One other, the four commonwealths.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think Kentucky became a commonwealth because Virginia was, and they were trying to be like, hey guys, we're a commonwealth too. Let us be a state, or give us statehood or whatever. But I don't really know exactly what the big difference is.
I'm Googling it.
Google it, yeah. All right. Well, while you Google it, I'll go on.
It's in a commonwealth state.
Yeah.
Commonwealth is just like any other state in politics and laws, and there's no difference in their relationship to the nation as a whole. When used to refer to the United States, there is no difference between a state and a commonwealth. The distinction is in the name alone. There's got to be a little more than that, but let's do a show about that.
Come on, Google. Google.
Google said it, so there's no difference.
Yeah. So in this instance, this is one of the times that Shelby was kind of criticized for his leadership against the whole French thing. But Shelby was like, hey, government has limited powers. Nothing I could have done. He kind of stuck to the Constitution and was sticking to his beliefs. No, nothing wrong with that.
And set precedents for the future. For us to have a strong federal government instead of individual states. Being the stronger power.
Yeah. Teresa she Googled it too.
She copied and pasted that there.
So after that conflict, the issue controlling the Mississippi was addressed. The negotiation with Spanish, a deal was struck that actually favored the U.S. and Kentucky, and that was that. Isaac Shelby's first term in office was considered a success, or I would at least consider it a success. The state got control over the Mississippi. They got financial stability. The Native American attacks decreased a lot, and a government was established. So I mean, he kind of hit all the pegs he needed to hit, Shelby had made it through with no scandals, nothing big happening. Set the bar pretty high for Kentucky governors. So that was his first term.
Yeah, Mark says, I've heard as few as 25% of the colonists were rebels. I've often read that as few as 10%. Wow. As few as 10% actually rose up arms, kind of thing. So what about Tennessee, Vicky said? What about Tennessee?
Is it a Commonwealth? Is that I don't think Tennessee is a Commonwealth.
State, but
I know Virginia, Kentucky for sure, Commonwealths.
Right.
And then you said Pennsylvania and Maryland, but
Pennsylvania and Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One of those Jeopardy questions, man.
So for Isaac Shelby, he's I should know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure he is the only governor in Kentucky who served 2 terms separately.
Non-sequential.
Yeah. So he was the first governor of Kentucky, and he was also the 5th governor of Kentucky.
Yeah.
You had James Garrett was 2nd, Charles Scott was 4th, Greenup was 3rd. I know I said those out of order, but anyway. Then came around to 1812, and lo and behold, they said, let's bring back the war hero. The War of 1812 was brewing up. A lot of stuff was going on. And they said,
16 years later, something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's been sitting back in the easy chair drinking his tea,
Yeah, he's been in Lincoln County, man, just living the life, man. Getting his.
I finally got him to do those chores around the house. And,
yeah.
You gotta come back.
Yeah. Round 2, man. You got to do it. But the war, it was inevitable. It was coming. So the people of Kentucky basically said, let's bring the old King Mountain out of retirement. And he threw his hat in the race. He faced off. He actually had a challenger by the name of Gabriel Slaughter, who is also a future governor. He becomes a governor later. But Shelby's military experience and his governor experience, it was a pretty big landslide, 29,000 votes to like 11,000. And maybe I'm giving 12,000, but rounding, of course.
Did they do a recount or anything? Or did they have
no, they didn't feel the need there.
Is there Arizona in the mix on this?
No, they weren't even a state yet, man. No problem. But of course, once he went to office, the second go around, it went into military mode. Recruiting, advising. It was all just getting as many troops to help William Henry Harrison.
Multiple times they said, "Hey, we need you." The governor or the president said, "Hey, we need you to rally or give up. Can we need Kentucky to deliver X amount of troops?" Mm-hmm. Isaac Shelby delivered in droves.
Time again,
exceeding expectations. And then the third time, they said they needed somebody special to lead that particular unit.
Yep, and he saddles up the horseman.
The old man, he's 62, 63 years old at this time, says, we're going off the battle right there. I love that about this guy, man. And he led from the front. I mean, he was right there, put himself in harm's way, as did many, of these people. We talk about William Whitley, one of those same guys.
Yes, he went and fought,
from the same geographical, who's an old man at the time, you know, kind of thing. Here's some bad things, you know, I'm 45 and, you know, my back's hurting a little bit, you know, kind of thing here and there. You know, that's inspirational that, you know, they got on that horse and they went off to battle and led their men from the front. And I think that's daggone awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of the, you know, he raised, I mean, a lot of men from Kentucky. He actually got the laws changed to where men could enlist at 18 to 45. I don't know what the rules were before then, but the women were encouraged, of course, to make items for the troops as well. It was a whole on, you know, kind of war effort. However,
yeah, a lot of people don't realize how important that the back country was to the War of 1812. The Kentucky, and we've talked about this before, but the Kentucky militiamen were extremely feared by the Native American tribes and the British, you know, because they fought like Native Americans and they were so tough and such great skilled marksmen, you know, kind of thing. So they were very, very feared by the British. So that's something that a lot of people don't know. I'm surprised we don't have a sports team, you know, named after that, you know, because how feared that they were during that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Long rifles using Kentucky windage, right?
Yeah. So the war for the Kentuckians kind of started off a little rough because it was the Battle of River Raisin and at the Battle at Frenchtown, same battle, just, you know, sometimes referred to differently. But a lot of Kentuckians were sent, like there was like 400 or 500 up there, up north to help out. I can't. Oh man. I'm forgetting the guy's name. I should know it. I've done like 5 videos on him, but man, I can't think of his name. It's lost me.
What did he do?
The general up there that was I cannot think of his name, man. It's lost me. It's gonna bug me to death. The general for the American Army was up north, and he was having trouble because Detroit had fallen. So Kentuckians were rushing up there. There was like 3 separate groups with William Henry Harrison. That's the Kentucky guy, I think. Yeah. But the Battle of River Raisin was very bad, I guess. They were camping out in the middle of the open. The British and the Native Americans attacked them in the middle, and they just had nowhere to cover. I mean, I don't know why they were camping out there. The town was kind of small, but they were overrun. A lot of Kentuckians died in the hundreds. Like the video said, there's 9 counties named after some of those fallen soldiers. William Grayson, Meade.
A lot of them surrendered and were killed afterwards too.
Yeah. Some of them were wounded at battle. And like Virgil McCracken was wounded in battle, but he was so sick and stuff. They had to leave him. And then the Native Americans came in and killed a bunch of the prisoners, just about all of them. Blaine Ballard County, he was able to escape, and I think a lot of the memories were based on him because he's one of the only ones that were able to escape and survive. So pretty crazy. Gonna do a video about River Raisin and all those guys here soon. I've been doing the individual people's videos with the county names, but I'm gonna do one that kind of tells the whole story a little bit better. So pretty wild, but yeah, that was that. Not as much to do with Isaac Shelby, but back to Isaac Shelby. But with that kind of poor start, like we said, you know, he kind of took the opportunity and raised more troops, led troops in battle. He in October of 1813, Harrison, Shelby, and Shelby's 3,500 Kentuckians met General Isaac Proctor and the Shawnee Chief Tecumseh at the Battle of the Thames, yeah. Battle of the Thames, and it was a very bloody battle. Tecumseh was killed. The British surrendered, and this was the breaking point of the Northwest Front of the War of 1812. And pretty much, that was a big one.
Yeah, Mark Zimmerman said, "I love the historical content. Thank you, gentlemen. I wonder if they ever caught up with Simon Gerty. We don't know.
Yeah,
Simon Gerty is one of those ones.
He's a mystery man,
and I don't like that guy at all. He's one of my least favorite people in history. History's complicated, man, but I don't like that guy. But Ancestor Stalker said, sad that this man is truly an all-American and little known. Listened to your podcast on him and was stunned at all he had done. Thanks for enlightening me. Ancestor Stalker up there in Illinois.
Yeah. So we got some few long ones here. See, my ancestor was William Gannon. He fought in Camden, Gulford Courthouse, Utah Springs, and
Guilford Courthouse right here. I happen to have a flag right on my desk from Guilford Courthouse.
Yeah, and then Huan, where he was wounded, died, and buried in Edgar County, Illinois. So, yeah. So let's wrap up. Isaac Shelby here. Pretty much after that, Isaac was he returned to Kentucky. He was a war hero again, awarded a gold medal from Congress. So that's
gold
nice.
medal, yeah.
Yeah. The war continued, but pretty much Shelby supported the war, but so did his fellow Kentuckians, and majority of Harrison's army were Kentuckians. As far as domestic issues in his second term, he pretty much ignored most of them because they were trying to fight a war, and that was kind of the main focus. He was elected because of the war, and that was basically his only goal. So nothing else really, big, I guess. You can't. There's no other governor who is actually literally fighting the war. So,
yeah. The governor himself is that. You think old Andy Brashear and get a horse and lead us in the battle?
Those things ain't happening.
I'm not trying to get into politics, but that boy seems a little squirrely, Teresa Vo had a great comment that I couldn't catch there, but make sure he says she belongs to the DAR and they're trying to identify more than patriots, but also civilians that contributed to the war effort. Was a synopsis right there. I couldn't get it. It came off the screen before I could get to that one. But
the only other thing that he kind of done that is of note, after he left office, he was able to help Andrew Jackson negotiate the Jackson Purchase from the Chickasaw in 1818. Besides that, that sums up Isaac Shelby for the most part.
Except for what Sue just said. Do you see what Sue just said?
Sue, interesting side note. A pig traveled with the Kentucky militia, swarmed Ohio, rode a ferry on Erie, survived the Battle of the Thames, and traveled back home. Shelby cared for the pig for the rest of his life. Whoa, that is
what
crazy.
A story! I didn't know that. And man, I can make about 30 jokes from that. Kind of thing. But man, what a neat story right there. So,
wow, that is very cool.
Alex, let's talk about a video on Daniel Boone's nearly 2-year trip into Kentucky. That'd be a great video. We should go to all those locations that he went to. Now, during what he's talking about in 1769, 1770, when Boone went out there. There's a story about him walking through the woods out there, kind of near modern-day Harrodsburg, just singing to the high heavens. And went up on him, and he found Daniel Boone.
Yep, naked.
In the nude, man. That's some freaking freedom right there, man.
Yeah.
That's some freedom to walk around out in the woods, singing to high heavens, naked, and nobody around to bother with you. So.
Yeah. But hey, one thing, thanks everybody for the comments. We had over 100 some comments, man. That's pretty impressive. And I do have to say though, I think Sue gets the comment of the day. That's a good one.
Yeah. That Kentucky pig. We need to find out what that pig's name was.
Yeah. Blue for sure. Bluegrass, right?
There you go. That's a good, buddy. So, well, good deal, man. So, who we got next week?
The schedule escapes me. Is it Transylvania, maybe? The University of Transylvania? Or I'm thinking.
Oh, no.
No? Something else?
One of my favorite peeps. Well, I got a lot of it. No, we're not back.
This guy.
No, he's the preacher.
Oh, sorry. This guy.
he's a little bit of both, right? Elijah Craig, Reverend Elijah Craig, the father of bourbon, as many people say. So excited about that one.
But final thoughts on Isaac Shelby. I mean,
the man.
Overall, really good Kentuckian. I mean, you can't. I mean, you want to say founder of Kentucky. I mean, he's going to be. You got Isaac Shelby, Boone, Herod, Logan. I mean, he's in the. I mean, he's probably number one, obviously, but definitely top 5 for sure.
Yeah, and
founding Kentucky for sure.
99.999% of the people that don't know about him. So
no clue. There's a nice statue of him in Danville there in Constitutional Square. Pretty cool.
Sure is. Absolutely. We got a video about that. We can check that out. So yeah, man.
I got a video about Shelby as well. Oh, one thing too. Shelby County is named after him, and it was created 2 months after he became governor. They named Shelby County. So
and he's one of the few people that lived to see their county named for him.
That's true. That's true.
How many of those guys were not alive when their counties were named for them? So
Yep. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess we'll see you next week, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
Love learning about Isaac Shelby. And hey, guys, remember, family tree.
Like the channel, the YouTube channels. Subscribe to them. So help us get to more subscribers. Helps out the channels. Helps out. Check out the podcast as well, and all that stuff, man. You about missed it all. Pig's name was Oscar Mayer.
That'll work.
That'll work. That'll do.
Yeah, buddy. That'll do, Pig. See you next week. And remember, family tree nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
At Family Tree Nuts, we make professional, historic videos all over the country and currently have videos in 25 states and even a few international. Let's face it, nobody wants to read anymore. As a matter of fact, nobody wants to even watch long videos, which is why I'm going to keep this real quick. Moving into the future, how are we going to educate the public on all the historic treasures that are found in every community? We have found the answer. Short, entertaining, and to-the-point videos with lots of shots and views that are relevant to the subject. These videos are shared on social media and are the fastest and least expensive way to educate the community on the history of your area. We have experience working with historical organizations as well as city or county tourism departments and Chamber of Commerce's to produce these videos for their use. Our clients are provided with copies of any video produced as well as online links to the videos that they can easily add to their websites. Let us document and produce videos of just a few or all the historic sites in your area. You will find our rates extremely affordable and well below the industry standard for media production. We are passionate about preserving and documenting as many historical sites as we can, and we would love to work with you. For more information, contact me directly at russ@familytreenuts.org or my personal phone at 859-314-1976. And remember, Family Tree Nuts, let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.